You're welcome back. This Face to Face on Channel One Television. I'm Umaru Sandamadu, and my guest today is the CEO of the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, which has 100% stake in Valco, the Volta Aluminium Company, and that's what we are having a conversation about. So you said that an auditing was commissioned into Valco.
Yes.
And this was which period?
So this was 2022.
Okay.
But that was also building on the efforts that had been made previously by subsequent government to also get Valco revived. So every government, at least for the past 20 years, has tried as much as possible to ensure that we have a revived, modernized, and more functioning Valco. So it's been efforts being built year in, year out by subsequent governments. So in 2022, a step was taken with the establishment of GIADEC. The step was taken that, you know what, let's actually understand this true state of affairs, because maybe government, I'm sure at the time, did not believe what was being reported to it by the managers of Valco. So KPMG possibly went in there, was commissioned, went in, did an extensive work, did a valuation, did an asset versus liability comparisons, and came up with certain options of how to revive or to retrofit Valco, or make it more functional. And they came up with their reports, gave 5 options that were on the table, analyzed it. I think among the options, debt financing was part of the options. Strategic equity partnership or investment was part of the options. I've forgotten the other thing. But after going through all the nuances with the options proposed, government settled on the equity investor option because that brought in more gains. Government retained some portion of ownership. Government retains some portion of control. They get free private sector money, get free private sector managerial and operational expertise to come on board to help turn the place around. And in any case, that was a status quo. It was a private business. Government has now gone in. Government has realized that the load is too heavy for us. We may possibly underestimated what needs to be done with Valco. So someone should come and take over, come and help us, step in. Let's share managerial role. Let's share profit. Let's share cost. And then let's run it together. And that is the steps that have been taken.
This was a proposal from KPMG.
This was a proposal from KPMG. It went to Cabinet then. Cabinet studied it. And let's not forget that all these works, inputs were made by Valco. Because where
Valco here is the management
of Valco, specifically the MD now, the MD now, or the CEO now for Valco, was then the Director of Finance.
Okay.
So he played a key role in all of these.
We're told he's been there for years.
Yeah, he's been there for, according to what he told me, he's been there for 17 years.
Okay.
I don't know whether he's been Director of Finance for 17 years, but what the records show is that at the time when these works were being done, he was a key player because he was Director of Finance, and the KPMG report actually indicates that whatever information they relied on to come to the conclusions they came to, was provided to them, was information furnished to them by Valco itself. So clearly, he played a key role. He understands the issues that I'm talking about. And he knows that the debt financing option that he has proposed in some quarters was part of the proposals that KPMG submitted to Cabinet. And Cabinet did not approve it because they didn't think that it was a viable option in the face of an equity investment. Okay. Having regard to some of the benefits I have just outlined to you, that we are getting free capital, we are getting free expertise. So why do we have to go and borrow and add to the debt stock of Valco in any case?
So no debt financing, rather no debt financing equity support. Okay.
So let's go for equity support. In any case, the goal is not about control. The goal is about growth. So if 100% gives us control, but we are not growing, but maybe 10%, 20%, 40% gives us a minimal level of control, but we grow. Every reasonable business person or commercially oriented person will go for the one that increases growth. Okay. So, and the government took that decision. Fast forward, power changed. Steps were taken, it could not conclude. Power changed. We studied the records. We did the briefing sessions. A decision was taken. Let's progress with this because it's the most viable commercial option.
So this government thought that what the old government was doing was something worth continuing with.
Exactly, because like I indicated to you, it was a step that had already been attempted previously under His Excellency John Dramani.
So this government decided to continue?
To continue. So it's, like I said, efforts have been made to revive Valco. So it's not a one government thing, it's a continue. Okay. So you come, you try your best, maybe you are cut off by time, you move. Another person comes, if they look at what you've done and it's good, they take it up. So we've been building on it over the years, trying to get Valco revived. And then we looked at the steps that have been taken, where they've gotten to, and realized, okay, let's continue with this. Let's modify some of the approaches. Let's patch up some holes and then start. The briefings were done. The go-ahead was given. Minister inaugurated his committee. The committee did its work and then went to the minister and said, we have been able to select some possible investors, look at it, and then that's where we are.
When you say minister, what ministry is Valco under?
We are under the Lands Ministry, Minister for Lands and Natural, Ministry for Lands and Natural.
So that's where Valco is placed?
That's where Valco is placed.
Okay.
Now.
Not energy?
Not energy.
Okay.
Not energy, because if you look at the act that establishes GIADEC, the sector ministry is the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources.
And so because you own Valco,
yes,
your asset now becomes part of Lands Ministry.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we cannot be under the Lands Ministry and our asset to be under a different ministry.
Okay.
It will not make public policies much sense to do that. So we are all aligned under the same ministry. Okay. And that is what the state of affairs is now. So the report has been submitted to the ministry. We are waiting for further direction from the ministry.
When you say report, this committee that was set up, was it set up by GIADEC or the Ministry for Valco, or Valco itself set it up, or the presidency? So
let me just state that by sounding a bit technical. So, you know, in corporate law, shares, ownership of shares and the sale or transfer of shares is a decision that is purely taken by the owner, not the company. Because if I am running a business and I'm making losses and I'm the owner of the business, I suffer the burden alone. It is not the employees, because at the end of the month, employees want their salary. And as we have been informed, in November 2022, the plant was shut down. That is to the cost of the shareholder. In February 2022, workers were agitating for unpaid salaries. That is a burden of the shareholder, because it's something that you are supposed to deal with. So when it comes to decisions of bringing on board investors, that's purely a decision for the shareholder to make. Where the shareholder now is government through GIADEC. Is GIADEC holding the shares in trust for government. So we take instructions and we act on it. So in terms of this, GIADEC acting together with the ministry, or acting under the supervision or directions of the ministry, put together the committee. The committee had representatives from Valco, because we wanted to hear their side of the story, what inputs they could make. So they were on the committee. The reps on the committee were nominated by the MD himself. The reps included a deputy CEO and a director of Valco. And there was a cut across. All the ministries that brought their reps also brought directors with a specialty in what we wanted to do. GIADEC also brought its reps. They were inaugurated to do their work, and they brought their report.
And the agenda was to see what we should do with Valco.
Not just Valco, to see what we can, to look at the proposals and look for who can help revive Valco and who can help us build a refinery. Okay. So it's a two-pronged approach. And we had people, selected the investors that were ready to build Valco, to revive Valco and build a new refinery for Ghana, because it's key to the industrialization of the aluminium sector. So not just coming in to pump money into Valco, but do you also have the means to build a refinery? And it's all part of the considerations that the committee looked at.
And what was the proposal that the committee put forward? So has that been accepted?
So no, that has, of course, that is now the committee has done its work. GIADEC has completed its work on that. But of course, there are chains of command. So we are waiting for further directions from the chains of command.
So what is this story about you trying to sell Valco or privatize Valco, and you are the one who is leading the charge?
Omar, I have just recounted the history.
Yes.
So clearly, you know that it's not something that started with me. It just so happens that I'm in the seat now. And I'm leading the charge because I have a legal mandate to lead the charge.
Is there a plan? Are you planning to sell Valco?
We are not selling Valco. But what I can say authoritatively is that government is embarking on a co-ownership arrangement for Valco.
Can you explain what that means?
And
how different is it from privatization or sale?
Privatization,
because you see, some of these state assets, people are a bit sentimental. Ghana Airways, hey, let it be. Even if it is broken down, let it continue flying like that. We like it like that. You know, Tema Oil Refinery, problems, but you let it be like that. We'll manage it like that. Now, you have Valco, an asset that people take pride in. You know, there are sentimental reasons. Then suddenly you want to sell. It's like ECG, Ghana Water Company, those kind of things. So what are you planning to do with Valco? Give it to some private person to run, which will be privatization, or sell it completely to someone like we did with Ghana Telecom? So what's your plan?
What I can say authoritatively is that we are not selling like we did with Ghana Telecom. But what we are doing is bringing on private sector to help with the management and share ownership. Inject capital, revive the place, and keep it running. That I can tell you authoritatively that we are doing.
But government cannot do that on its own?
Maru, I don't think The past governments and the present government has $750 million sitting there just to pump into the retrofitting of Valco. I don't
but
think
there'll be results.
There'll be results, but the results we have to also look at the data. The results with the same structure will churn out the same results we are getting now.
But have we checked what the problem is? Is it management or the facility itself?
Facility is a problem. Management is a problem. And I can say that because if the data is there and you see it's a problem. So we have to look at it from all angles. Now the question is, if someone is coming to give you that amount of money, you don't think they have a right to have a say?
So we are planning to bring a private person who is going to give us $700 million.
Who is going to pump that money into what we want?
That pumping, what's the nature that is going to take? So what will happen to Valco if that intervention happens?
So of course, when that intervention happens, Valco will not only be operating at full capacity, that's the 200,000 that they have now. The plan is to also populate or create a new line, which will have the capacity to create additional 100,000 metric tons of aluminum per year. So we are going to move from the 200,000 to minimum 300,000 metric tons of aluminum capacity for Valco. And that alone is increased production, which automatically will translate into increased revenue. And then will set Valco on the path to be able to pay off its debts and then start making marginal profits over a period of time until its books become clean of debt and start making the necessary profits. Aside that, because we have private sector involved, GRA is no longer going to defer its taxes. It will go in, take it, that is revenue for the state. You have more direct jobs created because as Valco has the capacity to do 3,000 to 4,000 direct staff, but it's now doing, I'm told, about 600 to 800. Why won't, if that comes, we are going to have these about 2,000 people, extra people getting jobs. That is direct. Indirect, of course, food vendors, water, and other people are also going to get additional jobs. Transportation, workers commuting in and out of Valco, it's also additional jobs for drivers. So the chain is a very long one.
And are we building a new plant or is the same plant we are reviving?
So we are using the same land. I mean, removing all the installed plants, bringing in new plants with the new technology. So let me just say we are taking everything away and then reinstall new ones on a phased basis, because don't forget we also have to keep the facility running. So the plan will be that the one that is functional, even though at 23, we immediately work on it to increase it to 100% production. That one alone, keep the facility running whilst we move to the next line and then gradually scale it up to have all the 5 lines done within the period. We have a timeline we are working with. Once we get the necessary go ahead to engage, we are looking at maximum 48 months. We should have the 6 lines in place. So
in 48 months, Valco will become heaven.
Once we get that necessary, I don't know how heaven looks like. We can imagine it, but but of course,
heaven, as a heaven, Valco will be back on its feet.
It will be back on its feet, and it will be running. And those who are agitating now may look back and say there was no need for that.
I'll come back to those who are agitating, but a few more things I want to understand. Are you now going to the market to look for this private intervener, or you already have someone waiting on the sidelines, trotting and waiting to say, give me the chance to run Valco? What is the
so like I indicated, before we even came into office, there had been a lot of expressions of interest. So the committee, that was what the committee was commissioned to do. They looked at the expression of interest, engaged the people behind it, engaged with the
so people express interest. Yeah, so there were bids of a sort.
People we can loosely say that. People
local companies, foreign companies.
Yeah.
About how many people express interest?
Mostly what I noticed was that the foreign companies more or less had some local partners, but most of the proposals were foreign, purely foreign. About how many people expressed interest in this? From the report, I think it was, when it comes to Valco, it was about 9, but if you add the refinery to it, it was about 13 proposals. So, and did we whittle down to a final company? Yes, that's what the report did. That's what the committee was. What did the committee settle on out of these people? The committee said, I think, made some recommendations for the consideration of the board, but because we are waiting for clearances from the top, I wouldn't want to make those disclosures now. Okay, are you sure this name is already not public? Because we are getting all manner of names being because it has not been officially communicated to anybody. I wouldn't want to. You don't want to? Yeah, I wouldn't want to go into that. So, but there's going to be a company that's willing. Yes, there's going to be a company. Of course, there's a company. There's a company already. Yeah, that has been selected for further consideration. And this company, you don't want to give me the name? No, I don't want to disclose the name, but it's been selected for further consideration by the appropriate authorities. What does this company have under its sleeves? For which reason we are settling on that company? Again, I'm asking this question. The company mindful of PDS and ECG. The company has the requisite financial ability, technical expertise, the global reach, and the things that we're looking for, energy supply that we're looking for. And these were the things that the governments have focused on, that if you are bringing an investor, the investor must have these. It must have the requisite ability to mobilize $600 million. It must have a global reach in terms of markets. It must be able to promote. Don't forget, our job is to promote Ghana's industry. So it must have the global reach that makes it easier for Ghana to penetrate the markets. So we looked at all of these factors. And then the committee was asked to, bearing in mind these factors as contained in the cabinet memo and all of that, go interrogate the proposals, engage them, and advise. And they did that, exactly.
So do they have the expertise? Have they
the
track record?
Yes, they have. I mean, I don't want to disclose, but maybe off record I can give you some, and then when you see them yourself, you know that they have the expertise.
When is it going to be disclosed to the public?
After that, after the approval is given from the top, we will make it public.
Where is this approval at the top? Where is the top? Is it
like I said, GIADEC holds the shares in trust for government,
okay.
And the head of
so
government.
So you go and tell government that, Mr. Government,
yes,
the thing you gave me to do, this is what I think. Yes. Do you accept or not?
Exactly.
So if government says yes, then you go ahead and implement.
Exactly.
Now, what will be the consequence of that? Job losses for Ghanaians, and that is something, because the union is not happy.
So
people lose their job. When you bring a private person, fire all the Ghana guys and bring your own president.
Before even coming to answer that, I don't think the union of Valco is not happy. I have a strong reservation.
I spoke to the union chairman.
I think it's the union chairman using his office for a particular agenda. The union, because Omar, we should be very sad if those people who paraded under the tree represent the staff strength of Valco. Then it should be very, very sad as a country.
Why?
Because they are not even up to 100.
That's a sample.
No, but
leaders are leaders.
But I'm saying that if indeed the union was speaking, we should have seen them out there in their numbers.
So you think that
we should have seen them out there in their numbers? That's why I don't think that is the union speaking, but people using their offices, and it's very common using their offices for some of these things. But I don't want to.
Do you have any personal fight with them?
I don't know them.
Don't know them.
Because I'm told one of them was in your program yesterday and said that
yes,
when I saw him, I didn't even greet him. I just waved.
He said he just waved.
But at least I waved.
Yeah. In fact, I'll quote for you directly what he said. But I just want to understand this new intervention, job losses.
So there will be no job losses, and that is the reason why we need to have Valco revived, because we are performing at 23% capacity. If the plan is to increase capacity to 100%, you don't need any sophistry to let you know that once you are moving to 100%, you need additional hands. And Valco is a specialized industry.
Okay.
You need specialized skill.
What's the shareholding arrangement that this committee has proposed?
No, the committee did not propose a shareholding. The shareholdings, because of our law, the law says in such arrangements, GIADEC, in partnership with any local company that's Ghanaian local content, should make sure that they retain 30% ownership for the country. Based on this understanding, all the proposals that came, some were asking for 80%, some were asking for 100% because they're also Ghanaian companies, some were asking, but majority, if not all, but those who were asking for 100% was in respect of different, I think the refinery and other, but the majority, or all that came for Valco, were all pegged at 70% for the investor.
So it's likely that we would have 70% stake in a private hand and 30%
in government hand.
Okay, so now you see what happens there is that 70% is the biggest shareholder. You know, based on your company law, he decides what he's really going to do. So it's like 2/3 super majority. Now, he will decide who the new CEO will be.
Yes.
He will decide who the workers will be and all of those
things. So that is
and that is where the issue is.
And that is why I'm saying that is why we are involved in this. And if, I'm sure at the appropriate time when the report is made available and you see the considerations that the committee considered, when it comes to the local content and retention of staff. In fact, from the report I have cited, when they used a certain scale of measurement and retention of staff and increasing the staff strength over a period of time was key, and I think it had one of the highest considerations. So the plans, why would government in this bid to create jobs want to render other people jobless?
Okay. Hold it there. I'll come back. I want to read a quotation from the union chairman to you so that you respond to that.
I hope it's not a Bible quotation because he's fond of giving Bible quotations.
No, this is not Ken Oforiatta, so you are safe. But the next thing is that there's something you are doing around Valco lands. They say that one too you are selling. This is Face to Face on ChannelOne Television. We'll be back with more. Please stay.